Welcome to the first video cast of American history. The point of this video is for me to explain how the rest of the semester will kind of work using this system. It's going to take you through some important parts of the videos, what I expect, what you'll get, and then what you'll need to do for class in return. So for every video, you're going to start out with a section title that corresponds to your textbook. So if you're unable to watch the video for whatever reason, maybe your internet goes down, you don't have the time, you can use the textbook because the material is the exact same. On the front, you'll see a red box always with the term Big Ideas. These are the 3 or 4 things usually that will appear in the video that are the key ideas for you to get out of the video. So as you're going through, you should be asking yourselves these questions, and then you should have an answer to them by the end of the video. If you have any questions on where we are in the book, the chapter will always be located on the side, and the section number, like I said, will be at the top. So this, if you need more information or you're trying to look something up, will direct you exactly to the page. At some points throughout the video cast, you're going to see these yellow keys. These are what I call the key ideas, or the most important thing in the video. Most of the time they're vocabulary words, but they could be ideas, peoples, places, anything. They'll correspond to those first questions that we talked about, the big idea questions. These are the vital things that you need to get out of the video cast. Normally there's no more than 2 in a video, and I put the key here to signal to you that this is something that you should make sure that you have in your notes. Some slides won't have a key idea. They'll be heavy on text, others will be heavy on pictures. The idea is to use whatever's on the screen and listen to what I'm saying to get down the information that you'll need. Another thing that you may see throughout the video cast is this little explosion here. This is to note when something in history changes and it's kind of the exploding point for that thing. So for example, right here, when we're talking about the Panama Canal, it wasn't until the U.S. sent 15 warships that Panama declared independence and the U.S. gained control of the Panama Canal. It's when the U.S. sent 15 warships that the course of history somewhat changed, and that was the exploding point, if you will, of this particular period. Another thing you may see going throughout these video casts is red sunglasses. If you ever see the red sunglasses, what they mean is that you're going to look through the same events that we just talked about through the eyes of someone else. So in this case here, you'd be looking through imperialism of Hawaii through the eyes of Queen Liliuokalani, who's a native Hawaiian. Again, the idea is to come out of our American mindset maybe and think of how this affected other minorities, groups, subgroups within America to get a better picture. As you're going through the video notes, you'll always have a study guide. The study guide will look something like this, with the chapter located here for you, and then the learning targets or section. What learning target is it corresponds to the textbook section, and all this is it's the main idea that I want you to get out. So 8.1 is Imperialism in America. The next one is combining 8.2 and 8.3, which is the Spanish-American War and the new additions to the map. And 8.3, 8.4 is America as a world power. These due dates here are for you to fill in. They're the due dates that I'll give you for when these videos are due. The idea is that you'll have 2, 3, and no more than 4 videos a week to do, and my goal is to make them about 10 minutes each. On the next page of your study guide is the unit overview. This again will list the sections or learning targets that we have in the unit. It'll also list all the vocabulary words that you'll be responsible for. Any vocabulary word that is boxed in is an ID term. That is going back to the key terms or the key ideas of the unit, the most important thing that you need to get out of this lesson. So for example, in 18.3 here, there's 3 words that are vital to your understanding of history in this time. The open door policy, the Panama Canal, and the dollar diplomacy. At the bottom here, this will give you a little refresher on all the items or clip art that you'll see throughout the presentation that I talked about and what they mean again. For each section, there'll be a 1-page study guide of questions that you need to answer. Some will be simple, like just define the vocabulary word. A lot of times I'll do this if it relates to a key ID here. And others will be questions that require you to interpret, take information, or use your background knowledge to answer the questions. They will relate always directly to the slides here. Okay, so for example, it says define imperialism. Imperialism is right here. It's a key idea, which is why it's boxed in. It always relates. And the definition is right here for you. So this requires you to make sure that you listen to the video, you watch it, you write down the important definition there. The last question here, question 6, is talking about how are you going to interpret the annexation of Hawaii through Queen Liliuokalani's eyes. This is the idea of going back to the sunglasses here. It asks you to interpret all of these historical events and put it in the words that Queen Liliuokalani would have. At the end of each section will be a skills check of some kind. Most of the time there'll be 4 or 5 multiple choice questions that really ask you to think about what you just watched it and took notes on and see if you understand it. These here will never be taken for a grade, so there's no penalty for doing them or not, but this is how you'll fully know if you understood everything that you just watched. If you can get your answers correct, and the answers will be located at the bottom of the sheet here, then you know you're on the right track. If you're maybe missing a question, you may want to go back and review that question, for example. And the last part of the section is called self-assessment here. These are the 4 things that you as a student should be able to do. So for example, number 1, I can define the term imperialism. Well, that goes back to the video cast and the presentation on whether you listened to that key idea, you understood it, and you took notes. So by the end of this, can you define the term imperialism? If you're thinking about it right now and you're like, I know what it is, but I can't really define it, then you'd probably be moderate. If you have no idea what it is still, you would be with a 1. You'd be able to define it with limited proficiency. Or if you understand the concept of imperialism and you can define it without a problem, then you're a 3. Obviously, the goal here is to get all 3s. Again, this will never be graded, but it's for you to see at the end of the video cast, have you really gotten the information? On the last page here is the same big ideas that you're going to get. I'll go over them and make sure that we've covered each of the big ideas that appear within the unit. If you have understood those big ideas, then you'll understand the ID terms, those vocabulary. You'll get the key terms that appear throughout the thing, and you'll also be able to give yourself a 3 on the self-assessment. Okay? If you have any questions where we are throughout the video cast, you can look at the guide on the side. This will always let you know what section we're in, and it'll also, of the textbook, it'll also let you know what part of the video cast we're in as well. Every video cast will end with a review. Again, this video was just to give you an explanation of what the rest of the video cast will look like. We'll go over this more in class and I'll explain it as well, but feel free to come back to this video anytime you need a refresher.